Tonight, when the sun goes down, you'll probably turn on a light. You won't think about it. But for almost all of human history, there was no switch. When the sun disappeared, darkness took over. And not the kind of darkness you experience when you turn off your bedroom lights. A darkness where you could barely see your own hand. For hundreds of thousands of years, your ancestors lived with that darkness every night. So what did they actually do? Did they simply go to sleep? Or was nighttime a completely different part of human life? The answer involves fire, stories, strange sleeping patterns, and a version of nighttime most of us have never experienced. Before artificial light, sunset was a serious boundary. During the day, humans could hunt, gather food, travel, build shelters, and interact with other groups. But once the light disappeared, the rules changed. Human eyes are not particularly good in darkness. Predators had the advantage. A leopard didn't need a flashlight, neither did a hyena. So for early humans, wandering into the darkness wasn't exactly a relaxing evening walk. If you couldn't see what was around you, something else might see you first. For much of human history, the safest option was simple. Stay close to shelter, stay close to the group, and stay close to whatever light you had. That light was fire. The earliest solid evidence of humans controlling fire comes from Wonderwerk Cave in South Africa, roughly 1 million years ago. And fire did much more than keep people warm. It changed the human day. Without fire, useful activity largely ended with sunset. With fire, humans could remain awake, move around, prepare food, work, talk, and watch the darkness from a protected space. The night subtly contained extra hours. Not many, but over thousands of generations, those hours mattered. Because something unexpected happened around the fire, humans started using the night for something that wasn't simply survival. They started talking. Anthropologist Polly Wisner spent years recording conversations among the Juhonsi of the Kalahari, and she noticed a striking difference between day and night. During the day, conversations were mostly practical. Where should people hunt? Which plants were ready? Who needed what? It was information necessary for getting through the day. But after dark, around the fire, the conversations changed. People told stories. They talked about distant places. They shared myths. They joked. They remembered things. They imagined things. The fire created a space where humans could temporarily step away from the immediate problems of survival. The campfire wasn't just a source of heat. It became a place for imagination. And that may have been one of the most important things humans ever did at night. But storytelling wasn't the only unusual thing happening after dark. For centuries, historical records repeatedly mentioned something called first sleep and second sleep. People went to bed after sunset. They slept for several hours. Then they woke and stayed awake for a while. Then they went back to sleep until morning. The important part is that this wasn't necessarily treated as a problem. It was simply part of the night. Historical references describe people using this quiet period for all kinds of things. They visited neighbors. They prayed. They interpreted dreams. They studied. They reflected. Or sometimes they simply stayed in bed and thought. Imagine that. You wake up at 2 in the morning. There is no phone, no television, no blowing clock, no notifications, no street light shining through the window, just darkness and silence. For much of human history, that wasn't an unusual night. It was normal. Then, centuries later, researchers tried something strange. In 1992, psychiatrist Thomas Ware conducted an experiment involving extended periods of darkness. Participants experienced roughly 14 hours of darkness each night. And something unexpected happened. Within weeks, their sleep began separating into 2 periods. Several hours of sleep, a period of quiet wakefulness, then several more hours of sleep. Nobody had instructed them to sleep that way. The pattern emerged on its own. And during the waking period, the participants described feeling unusually calm and reflective. Their bodies were not simply awake. They appeared to be in a distinct state between ordinary wakefulness and sleep. It raised an unsettling possibility. Maybe waking in the middle of the night isn't always a modern failure of sleep. Maybe, under the right conditions, humans naturally do something different. But the darkness didn't last forever. Humans gradually found ways to push it back. Street lamps appeared in cities. Candles became cheaper. Gas lighting spread during the 19th century. Then electric light arrived. In 1879, Thomas Edison helped commercialize practical electric lighting, and suddenly humans could make midnight look like evening. The night became easier to navigate. Cities became brighter. People could work later, travel later, socialize later, stay awake later. The boundary between day and night began to disappear. And once the light switch entered everyday life, there was almost no going back. Today, artificial light follows us everywhere. A lamp, a television, a phone, a computer screen, a street outside your window. Your brain receives light long after the sun has disappeared. And that matters because your body uses light as one of its strongest signals for deciding when the day begins and when the night begins. Modern life has essentially extended daytime deep into the hours that were once completely dark. We gained convenience, we gained safety, we gained productivity. But we also changed something much older. The rhythm of nighttime itself. Think about what nighttime meant to your ancestors. The fire was glowing. Beyond it was darkness. The sky wasn't washed out by city lights. The stars were everywhere. The Milky Way wasn't something you'd have to travel somewhere remote to see. It was simply above you. People talked, they told stories, they laughed. Eventually they slept. And perhaps hours later they woke again. For a while they simply existed in the darkness. No notifications. No artificial sunrise coming from a screen. No reason to immediately fill the silence. Just a quiet space between one sleep and the next. We tend to think of artificial light as something that simply made life easier. And it did. But it also changed what nighttime meant to humans. For most of our existence, darkness wasn't an inconvenience that needed to be eliminated. It was half of the world. Humans learned to survive in it. Then they learned to socialize in it. They told stories in it. They slept through it. They woke inside it. And eventually, we illuminated almost all of it. So the next time you wake up at 2 in the morning, don't immediately assume something has gone wrong. Lie there for a moment. Turn off the screen. Look into the darkness. Because for hundreds of thousands of years, that quiet moment wasn't an interruption. It was simply part of being human. And that's the strange part. We didn't just invent the light bulb. We changed the night itself. Like the video, subscribe so you don't miss stories like this. And share your thoughts in the comments.